Marcus Jackson was a man known by many in his city. He was a calm, strong, and respected veteran who had served his country with honor. He had spent years in the Army and had seen many difficult places and times. After his service, Marcus returned home to live a peaceful life with his family. He worked as a community helper and tried to make the place better for everyone. One bright morning, the city was busy as usual. People walked on the streets, cars passed by, and life went on. Marcus was on his way to visit a friend when suddenly a group of people gathered nearby. There was noise, some shouting, and the tension in the air grew. Marcus stopped to watch. He wanted to understand what was happening. At the center of the crowd stood Officer Grant. He was a police officer assigned to keep order. He looked serious and alert. The crowd was upset about something, and Officer Grant was trying to calm them down. Marcus could see that the situation was tense. Marcus stepped forward and spoke in a calm voice. "Please, everyone, let us talk peacefully. Violence will only bring more problems." His words were soft but firm. Some people nodded, and the shouting started to slow. Officer Grant noticed Marcus. He saw a tall, strong man who looked calm. But the officer also saw the crowd was restless. He felt nervous and worried. His job was to protect, but sometimes fear made things harder. Suddenly, a young man in the crowd pushed another person. The crowd became louder again. Officer Grant moved quickly toward the young man. Marcus tried to step in and help. He raised his hands to stop the fight. "Wait, let us calm down," Marcus said. But Officer Grant did not see Marcus clearly. The noise and the quick movement made him tense. He thought Marcus was trying to stop him from doing his job. In a moment of fear, Officer Grant reached out and struck Marcus with his fist. The crowd gasped. Marcus stumbled and fell backward. People shouted in shock. Marcus's head hit the ground hard. He did not move. The world around him became dark. The officers quickly surrounded Marcus. They checked if he was breathing. Someone called an ambulance. Officer Grant looked at his hands, surprised and scared. He did not want to hurt anyone. He only wanted to keep peace. The ambulance came fast. The paramedics worked carefully and took Marcus to the hospital. The news spread quickly. People in the city heard about what had happened. They were shocked and sad. At the hospital, Marcus was in a deep coma. The doctors said his injury was serious. They did everything to help him. His family waited outside the hospital room, full of worry and hope. Jamal, Marcus's son, rushed to the hospital as soon as he heard the news. He was a young man, strong and full of respect for his father. Jamal could not believe what had happened. He looked at the faces of the doctors and police. He felt a mix of anger and sadness, but he knew he had to stay calm. Jamal walked to the police officer in charge. "Who hit my father?" "Why?" Jamal asked, his voice steady but serious. The officer explained the situation. "It was a misunderstanding. Officer Grant thought your father was part of the trouble. We did not know he was a veteran. We are very sorry." Jamal looked at Officer Grant. The officer's face showed regret and worry. Jamal wanted to believe him. But he also knew this was serious. His father was in danger. The community came together. People who knew Marcus spoke about his bravery and kindness. They shared stories about how he helped young people and kept peace in their neighborhood. Everyone wished for his quick recovery. At the police station, Officer Grant sat alone. He thought about what happened. He felt the weight of his actions. He remembered Marcus's calm voice and strong presence. He wanted to make things right, but he did not know how. Back at the hospital, Jamal sat by his father's side. He held Marcus's hand gently. "Please, wake up, Dad. We need you," Jamal whispered. Tears fell down his cheeks. He prayed for his father's health and for justice. The city waited with hope and fear. The story of Marcus and Officer Grant was only beginning. What started as a moment of tension became a chance for truth, understanding, and change. Jamal Jackson felt a heavy weight in his heart. His father, Marcus, was still in the hospital. He was in a coma, and the doctors said it could be a long road to recovery. Jamal wanted answers. He wanted to know why this had happened. How could a respected veteran like his father be hurt like this? Jamal was a young man who believed in justice. He was proud of his father's service and the way Marcus had taught him to be strong and kind. But now Jamal felt angry and confused. How could a police officer hit his father and not even know who he was? Jamal decided he would find out the truth. He wanted to show the world who his father really was. He started by talking to the people who had been near the scene that day. Jamal met neighbors, friends, and even strangers. He asked them what they had seen and heard. Many people spoke about Marcus's calm words during the tense moment. They said he had tried to stop the fight peacefully. Jamal listened carefully and took notes. He wanted to build a clear picture of the event. He knew that understanding the full story was important. At the same time, Jamal visited the police station. He asked questions about the officers on duty and their actions. He met Officer Grant again. This time, Jamal looked closely at the man who had struck his father. Officer Grant seemed tired and worried. Jamal could see that the officer was not happy about what had happened. Jamal spoke with Officer Grant calmly. "I want to understand. Why did this happen?" he asked. Officer Grant took a deep breath and said, "It was fear and confusion. I did not know who your father was. I thought I was protecting the city." Jamal thought about those words. He knew that being a police officer was a hard job. They faced many dangers every day. But he also knew that mistakes like this could hurt people deeply. Jamal talked to his family about the situation. They shared memories of Marcus's service in the army. They remembered the times when Marcus helped others and stayed strong in hard times. Jamal's mother told him, "Your father is a hero. We must stand strong now, just like he taught us." With his family's support, Jamal grew more determined. He wanted to make sure his father's story was told the right way. He started writing letters to local leaders and community groups. He spoke at meetings and shared his father's story. People began to listen. Many were moved by Marcus's bravery and the pain his family was going through. The community showed support with kind words and offers to help. Jamal felt hope growing inside him. At the hospital, Marcus lay quietly. He could not speak or move, but Jamal believed his father could hear him. Every day, Jamal sat by his side and talked. He told Marcus about the people who cared, about the efforts to bring justice, and about his own promise to fight for what was right. Jamal also thought about Officer Grant. He wondered if the officer felt sorry enough to change. Jamal wanted more than just an apology. He wanted peace between the community and the police. One afternoon, Jamal received a call from a local reporter. The reporter wanted to share his story with the city. Jamal agreed. He knew that more people needed to know about Marcus and the need for respect and understanding. The news spread quickly. Jamal spoke about his father's service, the accident, and the hope for healing. His words touched many hearts. People began to talk about the importance of listening and learning about each other before judging. Meanwhile, Officer Grant worked quietly. He asked to join training sessions about community relations and fairness. He wanted to learn how to be better and how to avoid mistakes like the one that hurt Marcus. The officer hoped to rebuild trust with the people he served. As days passed, Jamal felt a mix of emotions. He was sad about his father's condition, but proud of how much good had come from the situation. The pain had opened a door for understanding and change. Jamal's determination did not end there. He planned to keep working until his father was safe and the community was stronger. He knew the road ahead was not easy, but he believed in hope and the power of truth. At night, Jamal sat quietly in the hospital waiting room. He looked at a photo of his father in uniform. He whispered, "I will make you proud, Dad. I will make things right." The city waited too. They watched as a young man's courage began to bring people together. The story of Marcus and Jamal was becoming more than just a family's pain. It was a story about courage, respect, and the chance for a new beginning. The city seemed quieter now, but inside, many hearts were still heavy with worry. Marcus Jackson lay in the hospital room. His body was still, but his story was far from over. For Jamal, his son, the time had come to understand the man behind, the uniform and the calm voice. He wanted to learn more about his father's life, his struggles, and the strength that made him who he was. Jamal began by visiting old friends of Marcus. He went to the community center where Marcus had spent many afternoons. The center was full of pictures and memories. Jamal spoke with people who had known his father well. One man, Mr. Lewis, greeted Jamal warmly. "Your father was a great man," he said, "strong, kind, and full of courage. He helped many young people find their way." Jamal listened closely as Mr. Lewis told stories. He learned how Marcus had been a leader in the army. He had faced hard battles but never lost his heart. Marcus had been respected by his fellow soldiers for his honesty and bravery. Mr. Lewis said he was the kind of man who never gave up. Even when things were tough, Marcus always stood tall. Jamal felt pride growing inside him. He wished he could tell his father how much he was loved and admired. He promised himself to keep his father's spirit alive. Next, Jamal visited Marcus's old army unit. The men and women there welcomed him with open arms. They shared tales of Marcus's courage and kindness. One soldier said, "Marcus was like a brother to us. He looked out for everyone, even when the enemy was close." Jamal heard about Marcus's many missions. He learned that his father had saved lives and helped build peace in faraway places. But he also heard about the pain Marcus had carried from those days. The war had changed him, but it had not broken him. Jamal realized that his father's strength came from more than muscle or skill. It came from his heart and his will to do what was right. Back in the city, the news about Marcus's injury continued to spread. People who never met Marcus began to learn about his story. Many were surprised to hear about the hero behind the man in the hospital bed. The local newspaper wrote a story about Marcus's life and service. Jamal was asked to share his memories. He spoke simply and honestly about his father's love for family and community. His words touched many readers. At the hospital, Marcus's condition was steady but serious. Doctors worked hard to help him heal. Jamal stayed by his father's side every day. He talked to Marcus, telling him stories from the past and hopes for the future. One day, a nurse noticed Jamal's dedication. She said, "Your father is lucky to have you. Your love helps him more than you know." Jamal smiled but felt a deep sadness. He wanted his father to wake up soon. He wanted to see Marcus smile again. Meanwhile, Officer Grant was facing his own struggles. He spent hours thinking about Marcus and the event that had changed their lives. He could not stop replaying the moment in his mind. One evening, Officer Grant sat at home looking at a photo of Marcus from the news story. He saw a man full of honor and strength. The officer felt regret, but also a desire to learn and grow. Officer. Grant signed up for community meetings and training sessions. He wanted to understand the people he served better. He hoped to build trust and avoid future pain. At the same time, Jamal and Officer Grant's paths crossed again. This time it was at a community event organized to heal wounds and bring people together. Jamal was surprised to see Officer Grant there. The officer came forward and said, "I want to say again, I am sorry for what happened to your father. I want to make things better." Jamal looked at the officer. He could see the honesty in his eyes. It was not easy, but Jamal nodded. "We need to learn from this," he said. "We need to change." Together, they spoke to the crowd about respect and understanding. They talked about the importance of seeing the person behind the uniform or the badge. The event was the first step toward healing. As the sun set over the city, Jamal felt hope. He knew the road ahead would be long, but he also knew that through truth and courage, they could build a better future. The city was slowly healing, but the wounds were still fresh. Jamal often thought about Officer Grant. He wondered what the man really felt deep inside. Jamal wanted to know if the officer could see beyond that moment when everything went wrong. One afternoon, Jamal received a surprising invitation. Officer Grant wanted to meet with him, away from the noise of the city and the cameras. Jamal was unsure at first. Could they really talk? Could they find peace? After thinking carefully, Jamal agreed. They met at a small park near the hospital. The sun was warm and children played in the distance. It was a quiet place, perfect for honest conversation. Officer Grant arrived first. He looked nervous but determined. When Jamal came, they shook hands. Neither man smiled, but there was respect in their eyes. Officer Grant began. "Thank you for meeting me. I want to be honest with you." Jamal nodded. "I want to listen." The officer took a deep breath. "That day was hard. I was scared. The crowd was loud, and I did not know what was going to happen. When I saw your father step forward, I felt confused. I thought he was stopping me from doing my job." Jamal listened closely. He wanted to understand. "Even if it was difficult, I did not mean to hurt your father," Officer Grant continued. "I was wrong. I did not know who he was. I wish I had seen him clearly. I wish I had taken a moment to think." Jamal felt the weight of the officer's words. He saw the regret, the pain in the man's voice. But Jamal also remembered the pain his own family felt. "I am angry," Jamal said softly. "My father is in the hospital because of you. But I want to believe you are sorry. I want to believe we can find a way to heal." Officer Grant nodded. "I want that too." They talked for hours. Jamal shared stories about his father's service and the lessons Marcus taught him. Officer Grant spoke about the challenges of being a police officer and the fear that sometimes clouded his judgment. Slowly, the walls between them began to fall. They saw each other not as enemies, but as two men who had been hurt and who wanted to make things right. Jamal asked, "Do you think things will change? Can police and the community trust each other again?" Officer Grant looked thoughtful. "It will take time, but I believe it can happen. We must listen more. We must understand more." Jamal agreed. "We need to remember that behind every uniform, there is a person. Behind every person, there is a story." Their conversation ended with a quiet hope. They stood and shook hands again. This time, the handshake was warmer. As they walked away, Jamal felt a new strength. He knew the road to healing was not easy, but this meeting was a step forward. It showed that even in pain, connection was possible. Back at the hospital, Marcus remained in his coma. Jamal continued to visit him every day. He told his father about the meeting with Officer Grant. He told Marcus about the hope growing in the city. One morning, as Jamal sat by his father's side, Marcus's fingers twitched slightly. Jamal's heart jumped. He leaned closer and whispered, "Stay strong, Dad. We are fighting for you." Outside, the city was changing. People were coming together to talk, to listen, and to learn. The story of Marcus and Jamal was becoming a symbol of hope. Jamal knew the journey was far from over, but he also knew that courage, kindness, and understanding could light the way. The hospital room was quiet, except for the soft beeping of machines. Marcus lay still, but slowly signs of life began to return. The doctors and nurses watched closely. After many days in a deep coma, Marcus's eyes finally fluttered open. It was a small movement, but it filled the room with hope. Jamal was sitting by his father's side when he noticed the change. His heart raced with joy. He reached out gently to hold Marcus's hand. "Dad, you're waking up." he said softly. Marcus's eyes met his son's, and Jamal felt a wave of relief wash over him. The nurses called the doctor quickly. The doctor smiled and said, "Marcus is coming back. It will take time, but he is strong." Marcus was weak but aware. He could hear voices and feel the love around him. As days passed, he began to speak again, starting with small words. Jamal stayed patient and encouraging, helping his father regain his strength. One afternoon, Marcus asked for Jamal. The two sat together, the room full of quiet understanding. "Jamal," Marcus said in a soft voice, "I want to meet the officer who hit me." Jamal nodded. "I think it is time. We need to face the truth and find peace." Marcus looked determined. "Yes, I want to understand why. I want to heal." Jamal arranged a meeting between Marcus and Officer Grant. The hospital room became a place of honest conversation. Officer Grant entered carefully. He bowed his head in respect. "Sir, I am deeply sorry for what I did. I did not know who you were, and I made a terrible mistake." Marcus looked at Officer Grant. "I know you did not mean harm, but your actions hurt me and my family. We need to make sure this does not happen to others." The three men talked for hours. Marcus shared his story of service and sacrifice. He spoke about the pain of being misunderstood and hurt by someone who should protect. Officer Grant listened with respect. He admitted his fears and the pressure he felt as a police officer. He promised to learn and grow from this experience. Jamal watched as the men found common ground. The anger began to fade, replaced by understanding. Together, they discussed ways to improve relations between the community and the police. They planned meetings, training, and open talks. They wanted to build trust where there had been pain. The hospital room became a symbol of hope. It showed that even after tragedy, people could come together to heal and grow. Marcus's health improved steadily. He began to walk again, supported by Jamal and the medical team. Each step was a victory, a sign of resilience. The community heard about the meeting. They were inspired by the courage of Marcus and the openness of Officer Grant. People started to believe that change was possible. Jamal felt proud. He saw his father's strength not only in his body, but in his heart and mind. Marcus was more than a veteran. He was a leader who could bring people together. Officer Grant continued to work with the community. He shared his story and listened to others. He became a voice for change within the police force. Marcus and Jamal planned to start a community program. It would teach young people about respect, courage, and the importance of understanding. The city was beginning to heal, one step at a time. The story of Marcus, Jamal, and Officer Grant showed that even after pain, hope, and peace could grow. The city was changing. People who once kept to themselves were now coming together. They wanted to understand one another. Jamal and Marcus felt this change deeply. It gave them hope and strength. Marcus was getting stronger every day. Walking, slowly but surely, he no longer needed the hospital bed. The family decided it was time for him to go home. The house that once felt quiet, now filled with joy and laughter again. At the same time, Jamal worked hard on his plan to bring the community and police closer. He believed that trust could grow through conversation and respect. He spoke to local leaders, youth groups, and police officers about his ideas. Many listened and wanted to help. One afternoon, Jamal and Officer Grant met to organize a community forum. They wanted a place where people could share their stories and feelings. Jamal said, "We must listen to each other. Only then can we build peace." The day of the forum arrived. The community center was full of people from all walks of life. Young and old, police and citizens all came together. Jamal stood in front of the crowd, nervous but confident. He told the story of his father and the day everything changed. He spoke about pain, forgiveness, and hope. The crowd was silent, feeling every word. Jamal ended by saying, "We can heal if we choose to understand one another." Officer Grant followed. He shared his own journey. He spoke about fear and mistakes. He asked the community for a chance to build trust. His words were honest and humble. Many people stood and shared their stories. Some spoke of past hurt, others of hope for the future. The room was full of emotion and respect. After the forum, Jamal and Officer Grant worked with leaders to plan more meetings. They wanted to teach young people about respect and the importance of peaceful solutions. Marcus also took part. He told his story to young people, sharing lessons of courage and kindness. He said, "Strength is not just in fighting. It is in helping and understanding." The community began to change. Police officers learned more about the people they served. Citizens saw officers as people trying to do their best. Trust grew slowly, but surely. Jamal felt proud, but knew the work was far from over. Change takes time. He remembered his father's words about standing tall in hard times. One evening, Jamal visited Marcus's home. They sat together on the porch, watching the sun set. Marcus smiled. "You are doing good work, son. I am proud of you." Jamal smiled back. "We are all working together. That is what matters." They sat quietly, feeling the peace that was growing in their city. The journey of healing was still ahead, but hope was alive. The city was quiet in the early morning light. Birds sang softly, and a gentle breeze moved through the streets. For Marcus Jackson and his family, this morning felt different. It was the start of something new. Marcus had fully recovered from his injuries. He walked with strength and pride. His time in the hospital was behind him. Now, he was ready to face the future with hope. Jamal stood beside his father. He looked at Marcus with respect and love. "Dad, today is a big day," Jamal said. "The community will honor you for your service and courage." Marcus smiled. "I am ready. But more than that, I want this day to bring us all together." The community gathered in the town square. People from all walks of life came to celebrate Marcus's recovery and to recognize his sacrifices. Families, friends, police officers, and neighbors stood side by side. The mayor spoke first. "Marcus Jackson is a true hero. His service and strength inspire us all. Today, we honor not only Marcus, but the power of forgiveness and unity." Officer Grant stood near the crowd. He wore his uniform with pride, but also with humility. He had changed. He knew that trust was built through respect and actions. When Marcus stepped forward to speak, the crowd was silent. His voice was calm and steady. "Thank you all. I am grateful for your support. My journey has been hard, but it has taught me the value of understanding and peace." He looked at Officer Grant and nodded. "We all make mistakes. What matters is how we grow from them." Jamal stepped up next. He shared the story of their family's pain and hope. "This is not just my father's story. It is the story of a community learning to listen and care for one another." The crowd applauded. There was a feeling of warmth and connection. People felt united in a way they had not before. After the ceremony, Marcus, Jamal, and Officer Grant walked together through the crowd. They talked with people, listened to their stories, and shared smiles. The three men had become symbols of change. Their story was a reminder that even when things go wrong, people can come together and build a better future. Later that day, Jamal announced a new program he and Marcus had started. It was a community center focused on teaching young people about respect, courage, and cooperation. Police officers would work with the youth, sharing lessons and building friendships. The city supported the program. Volunteers came forward to help. The community felt stronger and more hopeful. As the sun set, Marcus looked at the faces around him. He felt peace in his heart. The road had been long, but now there was light. Jamal stood beside him, proud and full of promise. Together, they knew they could face whatever came next. The story of Marcus, Jamal, and Officer Grant was not just about pain or mistakes. It was about courage, forgiveness, and the power of unity. In a world that often seemed divided, they had shown that healing was possible. They had shown that when people choose to listen and understand, they can create a new beginning.